Great.
We're here to serve.
So we were talking with Abby, here about what could be the next steps for the events or for the strategy for each one of your chapters or your pods. Like in the end, I don't have all the answers, but I think all together we can support each other and get some ideas. So as maybe you already know, Demi and Hannah, if not, Avi is joining us from Israel, and his venture is Healthia. He's been running a pod with us, a very, very interesting and successful pod in which he has an honest conversation with entrepreneurs, and they go through the whole journey. They share their current stage, with the goods and the bads, right? Like those conversations are very honest, and I really enjoy that. And eventually, it's not only an opportunity for them to share what they are working on, but also to get insights from the crowd. And there is always great, a very high level of participation during the sessions. So, we are thinking about what is the best way to approach it this year in terms of getting more attendance, spreading out the word about the sessions, getting entrepreneurs to commit to attend, what is the preparation for them. So we were just kind of in the middle of the conversation. I don't know if you guys have attended any of those sessions or have seen any of the recordings. From Abby?
Not yet, but I'm really curious. Thank you.
This, I think, is if I may, one of the symptoms of the disease, because we all give our hearts and soul, and we serve a very small number of people, okay? And even on the pod, I don't think I ever passed 20 people. And typically we lacked proper, announcement before the event. So more will join, and it's also difficult to watch a recording, even if people want to. So we're like, it's difficult as is, and unintentionally we're setting barriers for additional, and I think, you can't change the fact that it's difficult, but you can, and we should lower the barriers.
So so one of the things, actually, there is, by the way, can you guys hear me? Yes, right? So we are, I think there is two very interesting strategies that we'll be pursuing this year toward lowering the barriers. We have discussed already about one of them, which is, every event is going to be published, whatever the event, whatever the kind of the organizer of the event wants to publish. Sometimes they want to publish on Meetup or, on Eventbrite. But besides that, we'll be hosting the event as well on LinkedIn, which means it will be easier to, tag the speakers. It will be easier to share it with your broader network, which is not only, like sharing on your social media, but you already have an event that people can register through LinkedIn, which is, I think that, eventually LinkedIn can have a bigger outreach than your own, right? If somebody likes it, in their network, they can see it. So I think it's an interesting way. And then the second one is that we want to test Discord as a platform for hosting events, and also for, our community to hang out, as you probably read, Abby, as well in the document. So, Discord is also a community platform, and we want to be discovered. We want to be discovered also as well. Through that platform. There is very few servers right now that are focused on wellness within Discord. There is, around 12 communities or so. And especially when we focus on technology, there is the scope even narrows down. So, hosting the events there also allowed anyone who can join us, and anyone who's part of the community, anyone who discovered us through Discord to attend the event. So those are two ways where we can lower the barrier. Now, in terms of the communication, one of the things, and I would love to hear your thoughts as well. One of the things that we were doing last year was kind of sending every 2 weeks an email to the community with the upcoming events. What I want to do this year as well is to send a dedicated email for each event, and also, get some more social. But for getting some more social, I guess that, I don't know what is the best strategy as well, but I think it's easier when, the organizer of the event is actively posting it and tagging us, so we can, kind of use that loop and broaden it out within the community. And we can prepare the copy in advance. We can prepare all the assets that we need in advance, so we have it ready, and there's a strategy behind that. I think that we can plan all of that, so that it doesn't have, it doesn't happen, like we don't let it to the chance. But I'm really happy to hear any thoughts that you have, any of you, regarding this.
Well, I'm not sure about the impact of a platform. This is what's not my experience, but I definitely know that it's useful to get in touch with also other communities. As you mentioned, that in the platform there are also other communities working so to support each other, each community. This is actually what we are doing in Czech. We are we are starting cooperation with very strong community, tech community in Czech, which is educating in the terms of tech in the companies. And we would like to have the space with them in the element of tech transport, tech supporting the well-being of people. So this is what we are doing right now. We are also discussing with Deloitte to support us. So it will be very strong connection, which we will discuss, Paola, on Friday. But what is actually the biggest attraction is the content of the meetings. So just not to meet for a meeting, but really to bring some innovations, to bring some new ideas. And I also think that in the current state of world, it can be released. The tech is bringing new solutions that have not been possible before. So maybe we could also think of some tech solutions, how to support people in the current status of, for example, Ukraine, or how to support better connection among people. These small things that then tech can really make the difference and can help people live better. So maybe this could be a very interesting content for these days.
Got it. So what you're saying is that eventually, the platform matters, but what is more important to attract the audience and to keep them engaged is the topic, the content, who is the person who's invited, what is the technology that is being shared with everyone. I think it makes sense. I think that it all, like, we are very niche, and we all are focused on the same thing, which like for us might be something we are very familiar with, but for many people is kind of new. And also there is a lot of evolution every day in this space. I think that's just really the end what it comes to. I think it makes total sense. Also, like in the end, one of the reasons why we have so many people in so many places is that we do our efforts to attract people, but when we have congregated efforts, we really broaden our scope, and that's eventually what we want to. And I think it's really interesting what you say, Hannah, that it's connecting with tech hubs, connecting with Deloitte, or really talking to relevant people that might somehow also support the chapter or support the efforts that each one of you is doing. I think that's really great, and I can't wait to talk to you on Friday. I remember, Bidemi, you had some comments on your chapter. I would love to hear as well how's going on there and what's happening.
Hello everyone. Good morning from Lagos. Lagos is an interesting ecosystem. It's thriving, it's growing. There are a lot of competitors and competitions for talent. Fintech is the biggest winner here. There's a lot of investment in that direction. So many talents are moving in that direction. Of course, the ecosystem is supporting different things based on interest. So I think that's where it all comes in. 2 years ago when we started this chapter, we're full of excitement and here and there, but we realized that we didn't realize how tough it would be to build a chapter, particularly in terms of the uniqueness of the market and demand and supply factors. For instance, the guest speaker we brought for our first event has left the business he's into. He was into VR for mental health. Now he's gone to pick up a job in a bank because there's no support. So that's very heartbreaking. So I think where TTA comes in, the leaders of this program coming is to provide ecosystem support in terms of helping get investors to drive interest in the local market. If there are investors for people like that, it wouldn't have quit, and then that will be an incentive for more people to join. When we organize events, people see hope. Oh yeah, if I build this, I know that I'll get some support because the market is quite new. You can't totally depend on income from customers. So it's still very long term. So this is some of those things. My co-chapter leader and I had a very honest conversation about it. And he was supposed to be here in this meeting, but I don't know why he's not here. Maybe we'll join the one for the evening, but we both agreed that we'll join this morning program. We have different things to do later in the day. So this is some of the things. So holding events in Lagos here is not necessarily the most important thing, but to have some foundational support from the likes of Nicole. I sent her a mail, but I thought she'll be in this meeting. The leaders of this program, to provide, talk to some investors in the US or talk to donors to provide some background support. Currently, I'm also I'm an alumnus of Young African Leadership Initiative by President Obama. I'm the events coordinator. Now, there's juxtaposing both programs, you see that there's a lot of support from the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria here for some of those things. We report to the U.S. Embassy, they provide context, anything that we have, they provide funding, at least the top 5 best entrepreneurs get funding every year for their projects. So there's a lot of movement, behind the scenes. So we're always happy to host events because people know that when they host it, there's something at stake. So there's a lot of benefits behind the scenes. So I think that's where you're coming. There needs to be there needs to be benefit for joining. In fact, some of the alumnus of TTA, 2018, 2019, are not even joining our chapter because they're not seeing the benefit. Some of them are doctors, some of them are coaches, and they're like, what do I stand to gain? So we need to tie that loose and the benefit aspect. I can show you where people see benefit, they will rush into because it's just automatic. It's a growing chapter, so people need a lot of interest. And then you can't really tie people down to a particular place. Wherever they see benefit, they move. So if people see benefit in fintech or something else, they will move in that direction. But if we can, encourage more people to join through, providing benefit incentives. Yes, it's exciting. I like it. I'm in the health tech space. I like what we're doing, but it's not really enough. You know, passion is never enough. There must be interest. So those are some of the things that we've observed in the last 2 years of leading this chapter. So while we continue to wait patiently for support from Nicole and you, Paola, as well, helping us, understand, providing the needed support behind the scenes. Once we get that, people are ready. People want a long-term sustainable industry that they can join. So I'm excited to do this if only there can be some background support. So I think you should talk to investors to look into this market. Once there I feel, and then of course once in a while, once in a year we can run maybe an accelerator or a challenge where people can maybe for $10,000 winners, the top 5 can share $10,000. Now that would drive interest into the market to say, oh, there's something there for me. Oh, I can win something. But without that, it's difficult to get people. The more people get excited, the more they realize that, oh, there's nothing in it for me in the short term. So I move out to something else that can provide. So remember the earlier story I shared about the first speaker we invited. So now we don't want such to happen. So I think you need to help us and come to our rescue. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing. I think I remember we spoke about this also in our last conversation. So there, just one thing, now Nicole couldn't join this call because it's like 3 a.m. for her or 1 a.m. So she'd probably join the later call in case you also want to attend the next call. I remember you wanted to talk to her. So that's on the one hand. On the second hand, just to clarify, when you speak about support, you mean financial support, right? Okay. Yeah, I mean, especially because I remember that session that you talked about, when it was your founder. The thing is that obviously I understand completely that, eventually there has to be a benefit for everyone to, to host a session, to run a program, to pitch at an event. And especially when it's a market that's still, developing, and the transformative tech industry in that specific market is very immature and still kind of trying to understand how to, where to get to and everything. There is a lot of benefits just by speaking of, at those events. I was earlier talking with Avi because during those sessions there's a lot of synergies, and one thing that I remember is that there was somebody else who was a designer or who was working on a gaming app, and he mentioned that he can provide content for free to your speaker. That's something that happened, and I think it was really, really interesting, and it happened as a synergy and in a very unexpected way. That being said, I understand that eventually for a company to evolve needs money and its support from investors. I would love to hear, some thoughts from Avi here, especially from the investor perspective. But also one of the things that I also want to point out, you spoke about the US Embassy in Nigeria. I don't have those contacts. So one of the things that we've also been trying along with Troy is to support chapters in, talking to stakeholders, talking to people within your community that can provide you with, local fundings and local support and local grants by running programs on transformative tech, by, running an accelerator. So I have a feeling that there is a lot of possibilities in your chapter and for all the ideas that you have, thinking about, running an accelerator on transformative tech or a championship program and looking for a grant with a specific amount for running that in the name of transformative tech. And in that case, we can fully support you. Unfortunately, at the moment, financially, we cannot put any money. ourselves within Transformative Tech for the chapters, and each one of you are more or less like in the same position where somehow, and I totally understand that you're giving time and efforts into that, and there has to be at the same time some sort of hope of reward, or or any reason that what you're doing. I think like one of the hopes that I have, and I really would love, like, that's why I get the support from Troy, because he has done that in the past, and he keeps doing that, is to be able to somehow benefiting from your position as a chapter leader on Transformative Tech, and from the whole work that we are doing as a team to establish this industry globally as a very recognized thought leader in the technology space, to be able to create programs, to run programs that can get funded or get supported by local institutions. That can be one thing. The other thing in connecting with investors, I like, for us, there's still not such a deep relationship with investors in which we can somehow, and we have even thought about that at some point, connecting startups with investors, but it's there has to be a very well established startups for that to happen, and at least has some traction, or some specific numbers that can prove that it's a good investment for investors that are somehow part of our network. That being said, I would love to hear Abby's thoughts on from an investor perspective on how we can establish those relationships. That I'm very interested in learning about that, actually.
So I'm an entrepreneur more than an investor. Okay, so even when I invest, I join the companies and I co-invent, etc. I'm not a financial investor, but I think when I look strategically, we all agree about the need, right, for wellness and health and maintaining these and not deteriorating to a disease. And but the world around us and most of the monies are into disease and disease management. And I think that when you know, or maybe even feel that you are on the right path, but you're too early. And since we all know that timing is everything, we need to hold on up to the point that wellness will become the norm. And this may take 20 years. And we have to come not only with lots of passion and love, but also with strategic patience, I would say, okay? Because things take time. Knowing that, and knowing that it is difficult for each and every one of us, I think that if we can share more, especially, our troubles and problems, and if we can synergize and not only learn from each other, but also cooperate. Because Bidem, I mean, I understand that you're in Lagos in Nigeria, but a lot of the issues that you're dealing with, I'm dealing in Tel Aviv, Israel, okay? And Paula is all over the place, but in Hanka, and sometimes we come to a solution. And again, sometimes the solution is different for different locations, but you're not alone, okay? We need to be a team, and a team is one for all for one. So first of all, thank you, for sharing your troubles. And I think, like, in the pod that I'm hosting, it's not an Israeli pod. It's I hardly have Israelis there. It's much more global, and there is no reason for as an example, okay? There is no reason for people from Nigeria or the Czech Republic or whatever not to join, so we can cooperate on such events. The world is global, really. Now, all our community didn't really experience significant successes. And when I mean successes, it's a capitalist world, and it means big exits, okay? And the reason that I decided to host this podcast is to help entrepreneurs improve their strategy. One, meaning increase the chance of success, and B, connect people. And already many people continued. I mean, it's not just about the pod, it's about the network effect, hopefully, that people will start communicating and helping each other. And I feel that there is a huge void among our community that we don't know each other, and we're not communicating, and we're not cooperating, and we're not synergizing, and it's a huge miss. But I'm saying it as an optimist. I mean, there is a huge potential here for us to improve and learn from each other. Now, before having a few significant success stories in our field, we will have an issue. I mean, we don't have traction as an investor, I'm saying. So investors, of course, will prefer fintech or wherever where it's proven that they can make money. So if we want to have traction, we need to really help entrepreneurs have success stories. Okay, I don't know any other way, and such success stories will basically learn in additional entrepreneurs and additional investors. That's the way it works.
Thank you. Bidemi, do you have any comments on that, or Hannah?
I absolutely agree.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Avi. This is, I'm really inspired by what you say. I cannot agree more on the last thing you said. I think something we are really lacking is the connection part. And also being the community, kind of leader, each one of us. I think it's, and as you said, it's really, important that we allow also the possibility for the community, like for people from Nigeria, people from Israel, people from Colombia, from the US, to somehow being in the same place at the same time. And, one of the things that I remember that were the most interesting kind of, I think that what for me the highlight of the conference was the possibility to use the Brella app and connect people on an instant base, and just like walking around and seeing conversations and joining the conversations, and realize that there's so much in common, that there's so many opportunities to collaborate. So I'm going to start. Actually, I think in 2 weeks will be the first event. I'm kind of orchestrating all the things so that we can host the chapter leader session, the pod sessions, and somehow, strategically we work together towards increasing this big ecosystem. But I want to, I'm actually going to start, and Bidemi, maybe this is also something interesting for you, to provide this, kind of connections and this broader value to, connect specific community members from Nigeria to other community members from other parts of the world, hosting networking sessions that are, either topic-based or intent-based, but it will be something completely different than this. There won't be someone speaking, and kind of, giving a talk or a session, but it will be mostly an opportunity for everyone to interact with everyone. I don't know if you guys, this is not the most important part, actually. This is just, one option, but maybe some of you are familiar with the platform Warner, which is, this is the one that I would like to use, but, again, this is not important. And it's more or less like an open space where it's like a physical space, but in a virtual background, where you have this little circle, which is you can walk around and go closer to someone, and then once you get closer to someone, then you can start a conversation, and that can happen in groups, that can happen in one-on-one. So it's just an opportunity to provide this, what you just said, well, and all of you, like the opportunity to collaborate, you know, and to connect with other people and to find those synergies that maybe are more difficult to happen in, you know, in a speaking session. So this is, you know, something that we can start testing and see how it works. And I believe this will really, you know, bring that kind of lack of community that we have at the moment. And you know, this is not only that. In the end, this is and again, for me, the most important thing here is that we are all somehow in the same boat. And I'm so happy also because I don't feel alone. And you know what you just said, Abby, it's really like being in these conversations with you always bring me so many, you know, like listening to your struggles and also getting someone else stepping in and saying, you know, like I'm also there, I've also been there, and I know what it feels, and you know, we all are here to support each other. It really makes me understand that we are in the right path, and you know, we can commit mistakes and there's many things that we might be doing wrong, but at least I'm learning a lot from this, and I'm trying to do the things better, and I know that it's true for each one of you. So first, I'm very grateful for that, and second, I'm really excited to start launching these events, really, because I think it's a great opportunity for everyone.
And you know, just like evolution, it's about trying and failing and correcting and trying and failing and correcting. And through the continuous improvement phase, eventually, if you hold on, you succeed. That's the way it works.
Well, that is true. That is true. Well, actually, Axel was here as well. He was from Berlin, but he left. So anyways, this is what it's seen. And you know, like I've spoken a lot about this, and you guys know where we are heading to. Just as a quick update for you, we are somehow you know, having some conversation that are very, very focused on strategy, and all this input, I always bring it into, you know, into place when I talk to Nicole or to Ari, or when we talk all together as a team, so that, you know, all what's being designed reflects all the needs from each one of you. You know, one of the conversations is definitely how we can connect with investors. And, you know, it's really, so for now, as you say, Abby, it's really a matter of having more successful stories. And we do have, and those are mostly, you know, related to the conference, but it's part of our community. But, you know, eventually this is something that we need to evolve towards, and you know, it's a path to get there. We are really, really focusing on strengthening and growing our community this year, and you know, having a more you know, established system for you know, for bots, for chapters, for any other opportunity for the community to connect. And so that means hosting the, so for now, just like very simple steps that we are taking, but I believe are powerful. And then as all of you said, that we can learn and we can, you know, understand what are the needs behind that. But one of them is, you know, kind of opening up to share the events on LinkedIn, which is all our social professional network, from the speakers, from the community, from each one of us. You know, opening the Discord channel where we will enable the community to also be discovered by other people who are looking for communities like ours, and hosting these events regularly where people can just hang out, connect, and synergically start conversations. Now, besides that, there is, you know, other strategies that we can start elaborating, and we are already doing it. But obviously it requires time and, you know, steps that we can take. Now, you know, for each one of you, I'm here to support. And, you know, like any questions that you have, there's always possibility to answer. And I think these calls are, you know, the place to do it. But always, you know, there's availability for a one-on-one on talking to Nicole, or anyways, Hannah.
Paola, do we have somewhere a list of speakers and the topics and so on that we can bring to our discussions?
You mean speakers that have been part of sessions in the past?
Yes, or, you know, a database of content that we can create and just reuse here locally.
Yes, we do. Actually, so far that was hosted in the Mighty Networks, but since we are exporting and we are moving to Discord, I'm creating a spreadsheet where I collect all the past sessions from the TT Academy, from the conference, from the chapter leader sessions. So all the recordings are being collected in one spreadsheet that I will share with you. So I don't know if you are familiar, but we have a Notion page for chapter leader, which is like a big brain where it's also interactive, so you can post your sessions there. It's somehow connected to Slack as well, so you will receive notifications every time there's a new event. And I'm including all these content, all these documents in there. I'll make sure that I reshare it with you guys via email. But we have this big brain, and yes, we do have those past speakers, past sessions, and content that we can reuse as well.
Okay. So it's already is in Notion, so that I can just dive there.
It's no, actually, it's not. Let me see, because I'm creating this spreadsheet and it should be finished, in like this week, around this week, it will be finished and I'll share it with you.
Okay, so let's discuss it on Friday where we have our mutual call.
Sure.
Okay, because yes, so I would really love to have some more inspiration from it. So yes, great.
Of course. Yeah, we do. There's tons of content. Actually, we have, so many interesting things that we can start using to promote. Now that you speak about that, I think, like one of the things that Nicole wants to do is be more social, and like kind of doing Gary Vee stuff and cutting everything into tiny pieces and sharing it all over the place. So I think we have enough of that to grow our community. So yes, we do have that. So, well, guys, we still have 15 minutes. Is there anything you would like to discuss further? Bidemi, I would love to hear you. I would love to hear your thoughts after this conversation, and what do you think about what we discussed, and how do you think we can move further, and with what we have at the moment, and maybe we can just maybe this is something we can do, and like we can start having sessions where you get support on something, and whenever somebody feels stuck or feels the the need to think broadly about ways to implement something specific, bring financial support, then raising hands and saying, hey, I need support here, and just hosting sessions, and whoever can join will join. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think before investors can come in, there needs to be donor support. You need to use your network in the US. The market here is pretty young. It will not attract donor funding, but because you are in the US, it's already established. You intend to make sure that TransTech becomes a global thing. Now, we need to get donor funds from established markets, bring it down here to inspire people to say, oh, we can do this. Now, while it is working, we can now encourage investors to come in. But we need to start with donor funds, for instance, for the challenge I talked about, to say, okay, donor funds to organize a $10,000 reward, or maybe a hackathon or something that will inspire people to join the industry, the ecosystem. But without that, people will not support when they've not seen your support from outside. So that's where we are. It still has to go back to using your network to get donors to to come into this market. Now, when they've given us that kind of support, we've hosted events, and then the local partners can see what we've done, and they know that a lot of people are interested. They will definitely support. The Nigerian market, for instance, they like to see crowd. Now, if you can organize an event that can gather 5,000 people, now, I mean, that's publicity for them. But if we organize an event with just 20 people, we're able to just pull friends here and there. Now that would not attract any form of local support. But with donor funds outside, now we can mobilize a lot of people, create a lot of buzz here and there, and then people will come in. So it still goes back to what I said earlier. Of course, before the investors will come in, now let there be donor funds to inspire us to organize a massive event so that people can see what is possible. And then we bring speakers to say, oh, this is possible, and then people can pivot right now, because what we need is people pivoting to mental health tech. There's health tech, but there's no mental health tech, and there's also fintech, and there are other techs, agri-tech, etc., that getting some of this support. So we need to take advantage of already existing markets, develop markets with donors that have understanding of this and see the need for it, to provide simple support, the range of $5,000 to $10,000, to help lift the ecosystem from the ground. Now, if that goes on consistently for a year or two, then other players can see the need for it, but nobody will put in their neck first. Nobody will do that. So thank you.
I understand, Bidemi. I honestly, I also want to be honest with you. I don't think there will be donor support when there is not established community. But that's actually, something that, we never know what's going to happen. I still see, I see the donor support being able to provide, support, and eventually it has to come to a strategy. Everybody who supports or has ever supported transformative tech supports the broader vision, and definitely, the broader vision includes several specific markets. We can discuss that. I think Nicole would be the best person for that, because she will be able to provide you with a better answer than I do. She works more in the part of sponsorship and getting funding for transformative tech. But eventually we need to understand the strategy as a whole, both for the global part and the local part. So, but thank you for sharing your concerns, and thank you for sharing your expectations with them.
Really, our conversations to have. I may not join the other meeting because I had to wake up early to do this. I have another meeting maybe an hour from now, so it's been a hectic day for me already. Yesterday was really hectic, so today I need to catch up some rest, so. But I think nothing new from what I've said already. I think we just need you need to look at the possibilities. You can't say no yet. When you look inward and look at, I think you need to have a community of donors behind you, behind the scene, not sponsors, donors, donor agencies that believe in this. Now, these are the people that will, drive this work in various places across the world. For instance, the US Embassy has USAID. Now, USAID and MasterCard. Now, these are the people driving the work for, youth, young people, as young African leaders inspiring our work. Now, these are the kind of things we're talking about. So for West Africa and even the whole of Africa, they're driving the work. So now, if we can learn and adapt from their strategy, it will go a long way. And then more importantly, we need to increase the number of people. Maybe we didn't have TTA last year. We need to have a lot of people join this year. For instance, Young African Leadership Initiative, they have about 3,000 alumni. Now that's huge. Now we need to grow our alumni base. That can also help. Now, of course, out of the 3,000 in Nigeria here, only 10% are very active. Now, so if you have something huge, as massive as that, and a few, just 10% is active, now that's something to work with. So we need to shoot from both angles, the number of alumni as well as, you know, thinking of how donors can come into this to lift the market up. Now, no investor will do this, no sponsor will do this except donors. So we need that initial lift from the ground. Once that is done, we can now sustain momentum with sponsors as well as investors. Thank you very much.
We can have a deeper conversation about this, Bidemi. I really would love to learn more about your thoughts on the strategy to reach to donors, as well as how you think we can grow the African community. I really would love to see that happening. I think that, it's a market that needs to be more targeted. We don't have so many people from Africa, and having you there is a blessing eventually. Having someone there who can help us grow the community is a blessing. So we can have a conversation about that, definitely. Great. So
let people know so she can be on that call too, and then can have a robust conversation.
Yeah, definitely. You can actually you also talk to her, so you can follow up on that. Hopefully she can join later today. So there is also a recording of every call.
All right, thank you.
Great. Avi, Hannah, any comments on anything else or on this?
No, I think that these conversations are so important, and I hope to continue with these. And personally, I would love to hear about the people, and to get personally connected, etc. But no time this time. So hopefully next. Thank you so much.
Of course.
And a pleasure meeting you, Hannah and Bidem. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Pleasure.
So, Avi, I'll follow up on finding the entrepreneur and trying to get our next host, like a person to join the next spot. Hannah, I'll talk to you on Friday, and Bidemi, let's try to schedule a call all together with Nicole. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Have
Enjoy
a good
the day.
Bye.